Hi guys, welcome from Bulgaria. I'm Anton, and we're here to create yet another video from our new series about Selenium 4. Let me share my screen. Today we're going to talk about many exciting stuff. And for the first time, I'm going to share some code from the new Selenium 4 Chrome DevTools Protocol support. I'm Anton Angelov, CTO and co-founder of Automated Planet. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the awesome channel of Lambda Test. There are many awesome videos there. And also check their blog. Every week, there are really detailed articles that can help you. And in the description below, you will find many links, resources, and links to the source code that I'm going to show you, right? In the last video, we talked about relative locators that are part of Selenium 4, and we compare it to XPath. If you missed the video, return and check it. It's really interesting, and I think it will be helpful for your understanding about Selenium 4. And today, I'm going to show you in the next videos, we're going to talk much more about Chrome DevTools Protocol, but today I'm going to show you especially one really helpful method called pin script that actually allows us to execute initialization scripts on our pages, and this means that we can on every page that we load afterwards, this script will be executed for us instead of every time executing it manually, calling the execute script method. And I'm going to show you two really helpful examples to imagine what this is. But first, what is Chrome DevTools? Maybe you already used in your in a minute we're going to use the Chrome DevTools, but basically Chrome DevTools is a set of tools that are integrated with the browser, and let's directly see an example. You can open it with Elf12. Here it is. You can inspect the DOM, right? You can use it to debug web apps. You can export the performance using the network, right? We can see the sources, the JavaScripts, and everything that it's part of the web page. We can inspect the elements and all that. And with the new version of Selenium 4, we actually have access to this DevTools protocol. And you can also, many of them we are going to, you can search for Chrome DevTools protocol, and there is really detailed, here it is, really detailed documentation, right? That you can find all of the different commands that are part of this DevTools protocol. Of course, in the Selenium documentation, some of the most important features that have been integrated into Selenium 4. You can find also different examples in various languages. However, here there are only 5 examples, not so much, especially the things that I'm going to show you today are not part of this documentation. And nowadays, it's a little bit hard to find examples how to use it properly. And so let me show you an example, and then we'll see the pin script in action. Our test, as you know, probably you watch some of other my courses on the Lambda Test channel about JUnit or XUnit, and there we automated this to do application. Basically, through Selenium, we were able to automate different Angular, React applications, and basically this web app, right? It's implementing the same to-do application using different web frameworks. And basically, our test will add different to-do items here. It can delete them, and check whether the 3 items are there or not. So this is our tests in short. I already created the code for you. I'm just going to quickly explain it, and then we will continue with the JavaScript stuff, right? So here we have private variables to the driver, WebDriver wait, and actions. These are the 3 core classes that we use in WebDriver. Through driver, Chrome driver, we're starting the Chrome browser, and probably you know already the library called WebDriver Manager that we installed through Maven here. And this WebDriver Manager is responsible for downloading the correct drivers for us, in this case, Chrome. And what else? We use the actions class, to do complex keyboard and mouse actions like drag and drop or clicking enter on the keyboard. And shortly, I created private methods to reuse parts of the code. Nothing really special. I'm just, here we have this wait and find element that we use WebDriver wait for waiting for particular element to exist first, and then we interact with it. And as I said, we use the actions class to, when we click in the input, we need to press enter to add the to-do item. This is why we use the actions class. You can download the code and see it. It's not really that important. You understand here from the names of the private methods what we are doing. We're opening the Backbone.js implementation of the to-do app, and then we are adding 3 new to-do items, and we check one of them, the buy ketchup one. We just check it, and then we assert the label that I showed you before. Here it is. We click here, we add 3 items, we check one of them, and we verify this label here. That's it. And now, the more interesting part, right? The more interesting part will be that I want to use a library called jGrow in order to build really cool animations like this. They will appear here in the right corner of the application, and we can use them at some point to debug our application, especially if you run the test in the cloud and you have a video recording. You can add some debug messages there and see them on the video. This might be really helpful. Once we build that, I'm going to show you how you can write a small JavaScript snippet to highlight for a while the elements that we're working on. And then we will see how we can integrate all of this with our test. Now, you can find this library here. It's open source library. And if we read the installation, we need a link to our webpage to this CSS of the library. It's hosted on this CDN. And we need to execute the following script. Afterwards, you will be able to use through jQuery to call this jGrow method and basically add the message there. For the job, also, we're going to need jQuery. This is a really popular, this is one of the most popular helper libraries for JavaScript. And maybe if you are familiar with JavaScript, basically we work with jQuery using this $sign to find elements. It's basically like it gives us many utilities to help with the JavaScript code. And if we return to our example here, Let's see what we need. First, we can open Chrome Developer Tools console. As you know, here we can write JavaScript. And the first thing is to check whether we have jQuery or not. To do so, we can type window jQuery. And as you can see, we already have it here. So we can type, so we need first to download and basically initialize the JavaScript for the notification library, right? And I can write get script and then provide the URL to it. I'm just going to copy paste it. And as I said, this is going to load the JavaScript from this URL. The next thing is that here in the head, as you know, we here through links we're linking these CSS files on the page, and this is how we reuse the CSS styles. Basically, the CSS styles are responsible for how our website looks, right? And if you remember the installation steps, we need to add the following CSS, and we can do that through jQuery. And first thing, I need to find the head element. Here it is. This is the head. So to the head, in jQuery, we have a method called append. And here I can append the script that I showed you before. Basically, this will add this following element to the existing HTML. And if you open the elements, you will see that this link was added also. And now, if we return here, you will see we can just try the first sample, right? And let's see what happened. Observe the right corner here. As you can see, here is our notification message. We can, of course, change the text, right? Now the text, here it is, right? And we can use that in our automated tests. As you know, in basically in WebDriver, we have this execute script method, and we can execute any JavaScript. However, what will happen if we don't have jQuery on the page? Well, I will show you now how we can download it and initialize it if we don't have it. Directly, I'm going to show you now how to use the new Chrome DevTools Protocol. First, here we are maybe before the WebDriver wait. I'm going to zoom in. First, we need to get the DevTools. Since here directly we need first to, you are initializing Chrome driver, but since we are our variable is referencing not Chrome driver but WebDriver interface, we need to cast it. After you cast it, this will be available for you, get DevTools. And this get DevTools method is available for Chromium engine, Edge and Chrome driver. Edge driver and Chrome driver are implementing this Chromium driver that gives you the, here using the reflection, we can see that somewhere here we have this get DevTools, right? Now, after we have the DevTools, we need to create a new session simulating, F12. After we have the session, you need to use the get domains methods, DevTools, get domains, and then as you can see here, we have different domains. Basically, this is how the different methods part of the DevTools protocol are grouped. And we need to access the pin script method. We're going to use JavaScript domain. And then here you'll see that you have pin. And in this pin, first we need to name how this initialization script will be called. I will name it notifications. And afterwards, here we need to provide the script. I will use this syntax multi-line strings in Java, and I already prepared the script, and I'm just going to explain it. What else? Here it is. So what we are doing? Well, here I want my script. As I said, here we are going to execute this on every page. And the thing that I'm saying with this script is that once the page has been loaded, we're going to execute the following script. And the thing that we're doing here is first we're checking with the condition that I showed you, we are checking whether there is already jQuery on the page. If not, we are going to create a new script tag with of this type, text JavaScript. As you know, for example, the CSS, it has another type, right? Text CSS. So we need to be sure to add this text JavaScript. Then the source or the actual JavaScript is this one. I copied it from the jQuery website. This is their CDN. After that, we're again through JavaScript, I'm accessing the head, and through the append child method, I'm just adding this new script tag. Else, if we already have jQuery on the page, we're initializing the $sign to be equal to window jQuery. And afterwards, I'm executing the same code that I showed you before. That's it. Now, if we want, however, we will need one more method. And this new method, I'm going to I already created it actually. I already added here a thread sleep. Just for your convenience, we don't need it. But since the test is going to be executed quite fast, and we are going just to see many notifications, I'm adding this half a second pause in order to see these messages. And actually, this private method is just calling the same function for the notifications that I showed you before, right? And through string format, I'm basically creating the correct form for this function, right? And now the big question here is how we're going to combine this private method, the pin script, and where we're going to execute this. Well, you can actually manually add this whatever you want, wherever you want, right? For example, here, you can add it here. And for example, mention here, add new to-do item plus this, right? You can do that. It's perfectly fine. However, I want to show you a bit more generic approach. Previously, in the previous versions of WebDriver, we had something called EventFiring WebDriver. Basically, this is a special class. This was a special class in WebDriver that basically gives you the possibility to create like a decorator and execute actions, for example, after click, before click, when you find an element, whatever. However, as you can see, now it's marked as deprecated, meaning it's not suggested to use it. And if you read the deprecation message, you will see that actually the maintainers of Selenium 4 instruct us to use a new class called EventFiringDecorator. I already prepared the code so that we can spare some time, and I'm going to explain what we are doing. First things first, later on we're going to add the highlight. But first, we're creating WebDriver listener. This WebDriver listener give us many, if we open it through reflection, this is an interface where, as you can see, we have these default implementations for these methods. They're empty, and you can override them, and add something that you want, for example, to be executed before finding elements, or after finding elements, or after your before clicking or after clicking, right? So these are some places where you can execute your own logic, and this is what we are doing here. There are two generic, more generic methods that are executed every time. Actually, there are 4 of them. 2 of them are executed for every web element call. And I added here the grow message method that we already created. And as you can see here, through string format, I'm just saying about to call some method of the web element. Usually, you don't need this try catch block. This is needed because of the hard-coded pause that we added. But if you remove the pause, then you don't need this try catch, and the code will be much simpler. And I did the same for after and before, and we have a similar, more generic method for before any WebDriver call and after any WebDriver call. Now, I have added a new private variable here called WebDriver decorated driver. This is basically the decorated version. Basically, we added these actions on top of the driver that we created previously. As you can see here we are starting the Chrome driver, and in order to add all of these listeners, we create a new EventFiringDecorator, passing the listener that it's adding all of these actions, and in order to connect it with the existing Chrome driver, we call this method decorate. And I'm initializing the decorator driver. This is all you need to connect these generic methods to the driver and to the Chrome driver and to the CDP. Let's now run the test. And later, after that, I'm going to show you how you can add one more really interesting method for highlighting. And next, I'm going to show you how actually we can initialize all of this and use it in the cloud. As you can see here, we have these notifications that appear every time, and they're disappearing after a while, which is really, really awesome. I'm going to stop it now, and I'm going to show you one more thing that I promised. If I open again the console, let's imagine that it's really beneficial when you execute your test in the cloud and you have a video. If you turn on these notifications for debugging purposes, you can add any message that you want, and you can be more specific, like what is the locator of the button that you are clicking, or what is the text that you are typing, and all of that, right? Or what is the data that you are creating into the database or through the API. Sky is the limit. Now, let's review one more thing, how you can highlight elements just for a while. And through the pin script, this can be quite more efficient than other solutions. For example, in our enterprise framework for our company, Pevotrix, it's open source, so it's not an advertisement. I just want to point how we do it before Selenium 4. Here we are executing twice JavaScript to change the color. Basically, we are getting the original background and outline. This is the surface around the element. And then we're changing it to, for example, yellow. And after a while, we're running another process that runs on the background and after 100 milliseconds, we're returning it back to the original background and outline. Too much work, right? And we can do it directly with a little bit of JavaScript, right? That we are going to use it directly in the bin script. So, in order to get first, let's select. Let's return first to here. I can probably this, but I'm going to show you. If we inspect, I can copy here and I can copy the JS path. When I go to the console, I can get directly the elements. I'm going to get this, like get here it is, button backbone. And now I'm going to get the original, I'm going to save the original background in a variable. As you know, we use the let to save the colors. We get them through style background. After that, I'm going to initialize let defaults outline equal to button backbone style outline. After that, we can change the actual color. We can do that through button backbone style background color. Let me just scroll it a little bit. And as you can see now, it's already green. And if we want to change the outline, we can make it red, for example. Now, if we don't do anything else, it will be left like this, right? And we don't want that. If we want to change it, we can use the following function: set timeout, anonymous function, where we're saying that basically this set timeout, it accepts callback. The callback is basically the function that we're going to execute, and it says that please execute this after 1 second, after 1000 milliseconds, and we're going to return the background of this backbone button to the default ones that we previously saved. And as you can see now, disappeared. And we can use this function. We can paste it in the existing code here, right? We can paste it here below this bracket. We can define it. And this way, it will be available for us in our test, and we can use it. I'm going to show you a little bit of magic where you can execute the code directly to your elements. This is how we do it. You can use the try catch if you want. You can skip it. It's up to you. But basically, using the JavaScript execute driver execute script, this method actually accepts arguments, and you can provide an element as an argument. And this works. This is going basically this argument 0 here is going to be changed with the element that you found with WebDriver, and it's going to highlight it. Let's see whether everything is fine, and we can try to run the test once again. And as you can see now, we have the highlight and the notification at the same time. And as you saw, we navigated to another page where this means that our pin script is working because we already have this script for us on this additional page. And now, by the way, Lambda test supports now the usage of Selenium 4 and actually, this is a video of me executing the same test, but in Lambda test, and I'm going to show you. Now they fully support Chrome DevTools Protocol and Selenium 4. You can get the capabilities here. You just need to mention Selenium 4, and all the rest is working, right? It's really awesome, as I said, especially when you run the test in the platform. It's especially helpful to see these notifications and the highlight. Here, this is the video from the execution directly in the platform. And as I said, for debugging purposes, this is really awesome feature. There are a little bit of changes to the code that we need to make it work into the cloud. And now I'm going to show you what you need to do. As I said, first we need to copy the capabilities from here. You can choose whatever language you want. Afterwards, I already created here the a new file, and I'm going to show you what are the initialization stuff that we need. First, we won't use the Chrome DevTools. Instead, I already created, we are saving the usernames and passwords. One of the safest ways is to use environmental variables. And this is why I set mine in these two environmental variables. After that, we use desired capabilities. We set the browser name, the browser version to use the latest. And after that, the new way, as we discussed in the first video about upgrading from Selenium 3 to Selenium 4, we need to use this prefix LT options for specifics of the cloud and to pass this hash map, this dictionary of string object pairs. And here you need to make sure to set this CDP to true. And of course, you need Selenium 4. And now, if you want to use the DevTools, since the remote WebDriver doesn't implement the same interfaces as the Chromium driver, we need to use another special class called Augmenta, that it's actually going to add these interfaces for you, right? And after that, we can maximize the browser, and instead of this line here, since we are casting to Chrome driver, instead of this line, you need to cast it to this interface, has DevTools. And after that, the code, you need to put that below the Augmenta, right? Otherwise, it won't work. And after that, the code is the same. Basically, you create basically we're decorating the augmented driver that it's wrapping the remote driver. I know it's complex, but it is what it is. So again, we're after creating the DevTools session, we're pinning the script. Then you create the same listeners and you implement whatever methods you need. Then we're creating the event firing driver decorator. We decorate the augmented remote WebDriver, and then we can use everything together. Really awesome. Below that, the test is absolutely the same. I hope that this was useful to you, and I hope that you are excited as me. In the next lecture, we're going to talk about the new Selenium grid and Selenium ID next generation. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, you can submit them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the ring bell to get notifications about new videos. And of course, you can check, as I said, the awesome Lambda test blog, and you can get your Lambda test certification about JUnit, Selenium, and many more. See you soon and take care.